There's a whole new setup. So today we are working on Christian disciplines again. Again, we are going over Sabbath. As we talked about yesterday, Sabbath is one of those disciplines that we can't practice on camera because it is a thing that actually requires no camera. It requires no work. It requires not being here. So yesterday we talked about where that comes from. We talked about what it looks like a little bit. And to just recap that, we want to jump into creation. So in Genesis 1, you have the discussion of creation. And then creation ends with day 7, with God not working. And this is the day 7, which starts in Genesis chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the 7th day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the 7th day, he rested from all of his work. Then God blessed the 7th day, made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating he had done. So we see on day 7, God rests, God works, God rests. God gives this example of what we're supposed to be like. We spend our days working, and on the 7th day, we rest. If you were to go um, and look at Sabbath, and you were to search this across the Bible, there was 154 occurrences of the word Sabbath. So Sabbath is that 7th day, but also there can be Sabbath rests outside of that 7th day. They have Sabbath rests through the Old Testament tied to holidays, tied to events. You might have the first day of a holiday have a Sabbath. The last day of the holiday might have a Sabbath. Um, but in general, the discussion of Sabbath is the 7th day resting. We talked about the difference between Shabbat and Sabbath. That Sabbath is our English word for Shabbat, and Shabbat is the transliterated word from the Hebrew into an English word for us to say. Again, people might argue there's a difference, but ooh, in general, that is the difference, being that they are the same. Um, our next was Exodus 35, where we saw the rules for Sabbath. Again, Sabbath has frustratingly little rules. Moses assembled the whole Israelite community and said to them, "These are the things the Lord has commanded you to do. For 6 days work is to be done, but the 7th day shall be your holy day." Holy meaning set apart. A day of Sabbath rest to the Lord. Whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. Do not light a fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath. So, we talked about what it looks like to do work, because if it says to not do work, you need to figure out what it means to work, because you don't want to do that, because the consequence of working is death. So, pretty important thing to not work. The next thing Exodus 35 talks about is the construction of the tabernacle. And so, all the things needed to build the tabernacle, the hewing of stones, the uh, fabric work, the cutting of wood, the carrying of supplies, the metal work, anything done, anything that's needed, any of the work associated becomes that work that you can't do. So, uh, work is closely tied to that. Um, and so we kind of had a discussion yesterday about what does it look like to not work. And there becomes a problem in that, because our concern becomes, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I watch TV? Can we watch a movie as a family? Well, if you're not supposed to light a fire, and some would say that your TV is powered by electricity, and electricity typically comes from like burning gas or burning oil or burning coal. So, boy, that does come from electricity. So maybe you can't Hmm. Uh, th- do we watch TV on our Sabbath? Yeah. Do we turn on the lights during our Sabbath? Yeah. Do we drive our combustion car? Yeah. Um, do we spend the day as holy and set apart? Yeah. Like, we're not gonna mow, we're not gonna go grocery shopping, we're not going to, if like a piece of trash blows into our yard, it can blow out of the yard on Sabbath or pick it up on Monday. Like, we're not gonna do that extra work. One of the things that Melanie likes to do is not make the bed on Sabbath, because she makes the bed 6 days a week, and on this day, it's gonna be different. So the bed doesn't get made. Um, there's always this back and forth of what work can you do, what work can you not do. Like, people want to work, and so they look at this idea of Sabbath, and this idea of Sabbath becomes like a stress on their lives, that I can't work. What do you mean I can't work? I need to work. I need to do this. There's so much to do. Let's see the discussion that Jesus had with uh, the people around him about Sabbath. One Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and as his disciples walked along, they began to pick some heads of grain. The Pharisees said to him, "Look, why are they doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" He, Jesus, answered, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need? In the days of Abiathar, the high priest, he entered the house of God and ate consecrated bread, which is lawful only for priests to eat, and he also gave some to his companions." Then he said to them, "The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath." Can I comment real quick just on Abiathar? Ab- Abiathar? I had a teacher once go. Uh, he pronounced like Corinthians weird, something like that. And I was like, well, that's how you pronounce? He goes, these are all different languages. We're not pronouncing any of these names right. May that free you when you say a name like Abath, Abiathar, and you say it wrong. You feel like you say it wrong. Everybody's looking at you because you said it wrong. We're all saying it wrong. It's okay. You're okay. So I love this discussion from Jesus, that Sabbath is made for man, not man for Sabbath. That this idea of Sabbath is a gift. It's a time that releases you from the work, releases you from the things that you have to do, and says, today, you don't have to work. Like, to me, that's just a mind change of work, that you have to work, have to work, have to work. And this goes, today, you don't have to work. Today is set apart. Today is different. Today is holy. Today, you get to know your value not from the work you do, but from being part of God's creation. Man, Sabbath is the day we look forward to. Sabbath is the day that the work projects around the house, the work of work, the things of grocery shopping, of running errands, of all of that on Sabbath, you don't have to do it that day. That can be put off. Sabbath is made for man. Ooh, it's a good one. That's it for our Sabbath discussion today. We will talk more of what that looks like next time. But if we don't see you next time, we will see you on Sunday.